In the last one, you saw how to set up a sudo user, an admin user with root privileges. So in this video, let's see how you can set up SSH authentication using Git Bash. So I'm on Windows, that's why I'm using Git Bash. But even if you're on Linux or you're on Mac, you can still follow along with this. But as I told you in the last video, there's another post that you can follow if you're on Mac. If you're on a Mac, just come down to this part where it says SSH key authentication. The link for this is in the description, and click there. And this is going to take you to this page. And on this page, you can set up SSH key for any Linux computer. So let's see how we can set up the same for our Debian, and I will be using Git Bash. So as I said, if you don't have Git Bash, you can download Git, and it's going to come with Git Bash, and I showed you that in a previous video. Just download Git, and it's going to come with Git Bash, Git CMD, and Git GUI. Just here are the steps of what we're going to do. Of course, you install Git, you can download Git, and then we'll generate the key pairs. So since I'm on Windows, the first thing I want to do is I want to go to my home directory, and on the home directory there is a .ssh folder, and inside of that folder I'm going to create another folder for this demonstration. So this method that I've illustrated in this video is a nice way for you to create multiple keys. So if you want to create multiple keys, this is a way for you to go. Okay, and let's go into my home directory. So however you want to get to your home directory, if you're on Windows, you can always get to your home directory. You can just go to local disk, and inside of users, whichever user, that is your home directory. For me, that is also my home directory. Okay, so that is your home directory, and you can see for me, even hidden files, even hidden folders are being shown. So if your hidden folders are not being shown, just come here under view. I think it's under view, then you go into options, and then view again, and hidden files and folders, show hidden files, and make sure you select that. If you don't have hidden folders showing up, make sure they are visible. So for me, I want to go here inside of SSH, and let me create another sample, Control-Shift-N, and I want to call this, let's call this virtual main. So you can see that this is a really nice way, because you can group all your different SSH keys in different folders. If you do any default method that most people show online, you won't be able to do this. So just make sure you follow either of my posts. It's going to show you how you can log in even once you create multiple SSH keys. My SSH keys that I'm going to generate are going to be inside here. Okay, so that's the first step. Make sure that you have this .ssh visible on your home directory in Windows. Okay, so that's the first step. I have created the folder, and you can see that here in this post, what I did is I did change directory. So CD is a way for you to change directory into this folder. So for me, I would have, if I was following this method, I would have to SSH into the virtual main folder that I've just created, and that's going to ensure that I don't have to add the path every time I want to do anything here. And even next time when you have to log in, you can CD into that folder so that you can get the private key for logging in. This is much easier to understand if I'm doing a demonstration. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm not going to CD, but you can CD, okay? You can change directory into that folder. And if you change directory, it simply means that anything else that you do after that, you don't have to put, like for instance, there, that is the name of my key. Here, if I did not CD into that folder, I would have to add this location, copy that, and then you put it before this, okay? And that's the way that I'm going to do it. But you can still follow along with this and do it like this. But I'm not going to CD, I'm just going to add the path. So let me copy that, and I want to put this inside of a TXT file. Let me put that inside of a TXT file so that I don't forget it. And there, so this simply means my home directory. So instead of adding the path to my home directory, that will replace that, my home directory. And what's the name of the folder that I've just created? It's called virtual main. So let me copy this as well, and I need the path. I just need this path, and this is where our keys are going to be. So you can see our keys will be stored inside here. So this is just the path to where my keys are, And now I can start following along with this tutorial. So the first step is, you can see if you CD, you don't need to add the path, but I'm going to have to add the path in my case. So I will copy all of this and I will bring it into Notepad. And here in Notepad, as I said, you need to add the path. So if you CD into the folder, since you're on Windows, you don't need to add the path. That was just a way for me to save time. And this is the name of the key, virtualmin /. So this is the name of the key. The private key and the public key will have that name. And you can change this name. It doesn't have to be anything like this. I'm just calling it this, but you can call it whatever you want, okay? I'll just call it first server, just to show you that you can change the name. So this SSH keygen is going to generate a key, and the type of key we want to generate is RSA, and the bytes we want to generate 4096. You can generate 2048. There is also 1024, but of course we want the highest, which is B 4096. So this is the bytes of the key we want to generate, and this is just a comment. You can add anything that you want there. It doesn't have to be an email. That's just a comment that I've added there. And then now this is going to be where the file is going to get stored. Okay, so if I copy this, and just remember that this is being done on your local computer. So I will open. So I was logged in here as root. I can just delete this. I can just close that. I don't need that. And then I'm logged in here as a new user. Remember, we don't need to do the, we are not doing this inside the server. We're doing this outside of the server on a Windows computer. Right now we're logged into the server. So let me log out, and I can just do exit to log out. And you can see that has logged me out. Now you want to do this on your computer, okay? So this is on my computer, not in my server. This is where we are going to generate the key, and I'm going to paste that in there. You need to copy that. And let me just clear this screen. I will paste in this. What is up? Let me copy that. Copy. And then I will come here, there, SSH keygen. And remember, since I did not CD into the folder, I have to add the entire path. And as I said, this just replaces the path to my home folder. Okay, so that is what that does. And I'm going to press enter to generate our key. Now, of course, you want to add a passphrase for your key. A passphrase is an extra security for your key. So even if somebody gets access to your key, they will not be able to use it without knowing your passphrase. So it is like a password for your key, and you're going to generate the key with a passphrase. So for me, I'm just going to use a simple passphrase here, but make sure you use a passphrase that you can remember. Make sure you add this. This is very important, okay? So you can see our key has been generated, and the path to our private key is that, and the path to our public key is that. So this is a public key, and as I said, this path right here can just be replaced. This entire path can just be replaced with a tilde. So I'm going to copy this. Let me just copy both of them. Copy, and I want to add them. I want to paste them down here because I'm going to need them. Of course, I don't want to copy the entire thing. So from here, we'll just replace that with the tilde. So this is the one without .pub. That is your private key. And then this other one, this is our public key. And this one as well, I don't want the entire path. I'm just going to replace that with the tilde. Now we've generated the key. The next step is for us to add it to our server. So just remember that I did CD in this post. I CD'd inside of that directory, but I did not CD. But I haven't CD in the video that I'm doing. So SSH copy ID, this is going to get used to copy our public key to our server. And this is how it should be right there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this. Let me copy this one. and then I'm going to replace all the elements that I need with the correct elements. So I'm going to come to the text file that I had here, and in this text file, let me just paste in that now SSH copy ID. Now we do want the identity of the key. This is just a flag to let the system know the identity of the key. So we want to copy this into our server. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to bring that path there, and I will paste it. Okay, and then the user, that is the username that I've been using on my server. That is the user that I've been using, and then the host, the IP address for my server. I can get that there. Paste. So this is going to add the key to our server. So it's very important to note that in this post, what I did is I cd'd into that folder. So that's why the path doesn't have the actual link. It just has the name of the key. Let's come back to Git Bash, and I'm going to paste in this, and this is going to try and install the key on our server, and we need to log in. This is a login for your server. All right, so the key has been added, and you can see that the key was added successfully. Now try logging into the machine with the SSH key. Now to log into your server, let's come back here. To log into your server, you just need the identity of your key, and that's it. And the user you're logging in as. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to copy them, and then I'm going to replace things appropriately as I need to. So SSH into the user, and we have the user here. User plus IP address, copy. User plus the IP address, that's who we want to log in as. Remember to add the user, to add the SSH authentication for the pseudo user you set up. And then we need the path to our private key, okay? We added, in this part, we did add the .pub key, which is a public key. Now we need to log in with our identity, with our private key. So the private key link is that. So I'm going to copy this, and remember, the private key is the one that doesn't have .pub. .pub is the one which is public, which is your public key. Paste. So once you generate these keys, make sure you save them somewhere so that if you ever lose your computer, you can still get access to them. You can still get those keys and try to access your server using those keys, especially the private key. So I'm going to copy. So I'm going to copy that, and I will come back here, and I'll just paste that in. This is just to try to log in. So enter the passphrase for the key. If you did set up a passphrase for these keys when you are setting them up, make sure that you enter that passphrase. There we go. Now we are logged into the server using our SSH keys. And before I even end the video, the next thing that I want to do is I want to disable root login, and I want to disable password authentication. So I'm going to come down here, and I need to go to the SSH configuration file, and I need to disable root login, and I need to disable password authentication. So I want to do that in this video, so I don't have to do it in the next video. Copy. And enter the user password. So every time you use sudo, you need to enter the password for this user. All right. So I need to find root login, and I need to change this to no, and I also need to find password authentication, and I need to change that to no. So I'm going to do Control W on nano, and then I will paste, and permit root login currently is set to yes. We don't want the root user to be able to log in via SSH. So I'm going to change this one to no. And then the next step again is I need to disable password authentication. So if someone doesn't have access to our keys, they will not be able to log into our server, and that's what we want. We only want people to be able to log in using the key that we set up. So I'm going to paste that in there, enter, and then password authentication, you can see right now it is commented out. So I'm just going to uncomment it and then scroll all the way. And this, we want to make this no. And then I will do Control X, Y, enter, and that's going to save it. And I need to restart SSH. So I can just do sudo service SSH restart, and that's going to restart SSH. And now if somebody tries to log in as a root user, they will not be able to log in. If somebody tries to log in via password, they will not be able to log in. Right now, the only way to log into our server is using the keys that we've set up. So do yourself a favor and just copy that and save it somewhere so that you can use this to log into your server if you need to. Okay. So I've just recalled there's something that I've forgotten to do, and that is to change the permissions for our SSH key and the SSH folder. So what we need to do, let's see if the permission thing is here. Okay, the permission thing is here. So I can just change permission for the SSH folder and the authorized keys on your server. So you need to make sure that the keys are not easily accessible, and that's what we're doing here. So I'm just going to copy this, and this will change the permissions for that SSH folder, and for the key it's going to give it a permission of 600, so no one else has access other than root. Okay, and once you do that, you'll have to change the ownership for that file to the new user that you've set up, otherwise you won't be able to log in. So I'm going to copy this and I will paste that in there. So the permissions have been changed. Now the next thing is for you to give ownership. You need to change the owner of that file and everything inside of this directory to the user that you've set up. Otherwise, you will not be able to log in. This is very important. So I'm going to copy that. And I will put it there. So every instance of Joe, give it the group of the user you've set up, and the group will be that new user. So the group of Joe, user Joe, home directory Joe, and once you do this, you'll be able to log in. Copy, paste, and then enter. And now let's open up a new instance of Git Bash, and we need to try to log in. So that is our login. I will paste. All right, you can still log in. So that's everything that we needed to do in this video. And in this video, you have seen how you can set up SSH authentication using Git Bash. So you can follow the same steps. If you're on Linux or Mac, it's just basically the same steps. And if you don't want to use Git Bash, you can also use PuTTY and PuTTYGen. And I do have a video for that. If you come here, you can do that. If you go to this link and you scroll somewhere down here, you can watch the video right there. This is a video for using PuTTY and PuTTYGen for SSH keys. So if you get lost, make sure that you follow along and everything is going to work out correct. Now the next step is in our setup. We've already set up SSH keys. The next step is going to be, let's create the swap file, and I can create a swap file for 2 or 3 GB. A swap file is just a memory location that will be used when memory runs out on our server. So that's something that you need to add, especially if you have a low memory VPS. And then once we do that, we're going to get to installing virtual main, and then we'll see how to use virtual main to set up WordPress. And as I said, I'm just using WordPress as a sample. If you want to use any other websites like Joomla, Magento, you'll see how you can do it. And please note that I will be installing the LAMP stack. I will not be using LAMP. I will not install Apache. I will just install Nginx and PHP MyAdmin for virtual main. So that's it for this one. I will see you in the next one, and let's continue in the next one by creating a swap file.